Good early afternoon. We are live. I'm Andy Andrews. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special here from the Financial District in Orange Beach, Alabama. It's where all the stock trading, all the brokering of deals is done here in our little town of 5,000 people. So we're glad to have you here. And we've got a great show today. This is going to be a very special one. It's going to be, we're talking history today, this day in history. And we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Marcy Crosser Taylor, hey. Pasco, Washington is beautiful. It's supposed to be 78 today. Good. Nancy Bergen from Monte Vista, Colorado. We're glad you're here. And Christy, my sister, Christy. Hello, Christy. Dina Kilpatrick, good afternoon. And you shared. Good, thank you. Cookie Wagner Woods. And it's sunshine where? In Carrollton, Texas. It's sunny here today. Man, it was beautiful. I was coming over the bridge this morning. It was just slick as a dog. That's very slick. And that's in, fishermen speak here. Karen Jones from Northern Kentucky. We're glad you're here. Hey, we have a couple of new items in the store that we wanted to tell you about today as we get going. You like the t-shirt? The t-shirt, of course, is from Sand Dollar Lifestyles. And Sand Dollar Lifestyles is right this way. They are the cornerstone of the wharf right here. And if you ever visit us here in our studio at the wharf, you definitely need to say hey to Sand Dollar Lifestyle people. And you need to get your picture taken with the escalator statues. So that's right down here. We got 4 of them. We got 4 escalators. There's 2 Marlin statues and 4 escalator statues. And you know the difference in these things. Hey, Susie, how are you doing? We've got a bunch of people here today, and we're very glad you guys are here. The difference in the Marlin statues and the escalator statues, the Marlin statues, they're life-size, but they're made of stainless steel. And so you're not going to mistake them for something real. You know, you're not going to look at the Marlin statues and go, oh my God, it's stainless Marlin coming from the ground. You're just not going to do that. They're beautiful, but they don't look real. Now, the escalator statues, unbelievable. They are life-size. They're lifelike. Just absolutely incredible. And so if you haven't taken the time to get your picture taken with the escalator statues, you need to do that. I think they're probably on a limited run. Hey, look what we have here. This is new to the store. We've got them in 2 sizes. This is the canvas with the quote from Just Jones at the back, and this is says, "When you are discouraged, when you're feeling sad and blue, remember that the mighty oak was once a nut like you." So we have these in the store now, 2 different sizes. And we also, I am real excited about these. We have new cards. And these are also on the site, on the store. But I wanted to show you these because we noticed that last time when we printed these cards, you know which ones? We had some that had stuff inside them, okay? You know, like stuff written inside them. And then we had some that were just the picture that were empty inside. Now, I was the one who pushed for the empty inside because I had taken pictures of some fish skins, okay, with mahi skin and red snapper and stuff like that. And I thought this would be great because sportsmen will want to use that for but they didn't sell. Only the ones with stuff inside them sold. So this time we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 new cards done. And guess what? They all have stuff written in them. Okay? But I took these pictures. Here's we call this the double eagle. Matt, are you able to show that on the screen, or is it just me? It can be just me.
I got them all together.
Huh?
There they are.
Okay. All right, yeah, so there's the double eagle, and inside the double eagle it says, average birds behave like the rest of the flock. This is why they are average. Eagles choose their friends wisely, and the sky becomes their only limit. I took that picture in Alaska. Hey, Judith DeWitt from Spokane Valley. This is our Christmas card, and for once, I'm in time. I'm in time for Christmas. Actually, I wasn't. You know, I put them out. You know, I sent them to the prayer in November, but I'm in time for this next Christmas. So this is the Orange Beach version of a snowman. It's a sandman, and it says, forget the mistletoe, don't need cold, wet snow. Just let the sand be white, and we'll sing Silent Night. Merry Christmas from the beach. So if you need a good beach Christmas card, there you go. All right, this is one that I took on a particularly rough day out in the Gulf. Dave Larder's here. Hey, Dave from Phoenix. And this one says, life can be unpredictable. Most stay out of the water. You ride the wave. Jen Andrews, hey. Now, I got to show you this. This one was kind of a mistake that I took. I was taking a picture of some birds, and you know how you get a picture back and you go, oh my gosh. Well, that's this one. Look at this. And this one looks so much like an angel. We called it the Comforter. And so the words in here says, your guardian angel sent by the king will shelter you beneath his wing. But if you can't see that well, go online and look at that one. Then here is an eagle that was about to eat somebody. I took that one in Alaska too. And this one says, you will mount up with wings like eagles, run and not get tired, walk and not become weary. Isaiah 40:31. And then here's the last one. I was pretty proud of this one. This is, it's called The Wise Mom. Can you see the baby peeking out from behind his mom? And it says, there is no greater warrior than a mother protecting her child. So, those are the new ones. And you'll notice, they all have writing in them. Yep. All right, and with Mother's Day coming up, don't you need like 20 or 30 cards? I'm thinking so. Kevin Kogel, hey buddy, great to hear you. Edwina English, greetings from the great state of Texas. I thought you guys thought that was a country. Jen Andrews said that was her mom's favorite verse. Okay, are you ready? We are about to go deep into this day, May 2nd. And you would not believe all the stuff that has happened on May 2nd in history. This is this day in history. Okay, ready? Here we go. In 1536, Anne Boleyn was arrested and taken to the Tower of London. They just arrested her that day. And I think that it's in history books that when they arrested her, they said it's just a slight just a slight detainment. No need to lose your head over anything. In 1776, get that date, right? 1776, France and Spain agreed to give weapons to American rebels. Well, that was the nail in the coffin for Britain right there. In 1833, I thought this was very nice. In 1833, Russian Tsar Nicholas I banned the public sale of serfs. You could sell your serfs, just not in public. And actually, it was just the public selling of serfs that was banned, because he allowed them to keep selling serfs on eBay. Tsar Nicholas I. Then in 1863, the South defeated the North in the Battle of Chancellorsville in Chancellorsville, Virginia, and Stonewall Jackson, one of the South's biggest generals, was wounded by his own men. You know, it's no wonder they lost the war. It's like you're shooting the wrong generals. It's like, no, not him, them. Cat Hooker, hey, I can answer that. Cat Hooker's trying to fool me. Cat Hooker sent me a question. When was the War of 1812? I'll throw one back at you. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Okay. In 1865, U.S. President Andrew Johnson, now you get this, you remember? 1865, President Andrew Johnson. It's right after the war. It's right after Lincoln was assassinated. And Andrew Johnson offered a $100,000 reward for the capture of Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president. And so when Lincoln was assassinated, there goes the old forgiveness thing. Yeah. Now we're back into Reconstruction, making it as hard as we possibly can. In 1878, the U.S. stopped minting the 20-cent coin.
I never even heard of that.
There was a 20-cent coin? Did you know there was?
No, never.
You didn't? It was called a double dima, which dima meant dime in Latin. So it was called a double dima, or a double dime. Not really, I just made that up. But it sounds pretty good, didn't it? I mean, it did sound pretty good. I mean, you know, that would be a good this day in history fact. At this day in history, in 1878, the double dima was no longer being reproduced. But, you know, why would, you know, that was a pretty stupid thing to make up, because if you're going to use the Latin thing for dima, why wouldn't you use it for double? You know, double dima. I took Latin in high school, 2 years. Latin 1 and Latin 2 from Miss Chase at Berry High School in Birmingham, Alabama. Amo, amas, amat, amamas, amatus, amant. That is conjugating some verb, I'm not really sure which one, but 2 years of Latin, and that's all I remember. Right there. All right. A double dima sounds like a disease. Yeah, it kind of does. So sorry to tell you. You have 6 months to live. You have double dima? Okay, 1885. 1885, Good Housekeeping magazine was first published. First publication in 1885 of Good Housekeeping magazine. And the next month, they gave themselves the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. I think that's true. In 1887, composer Gioacchino Rossini, well, actually, Gioacchino Rossini's corpse was transferred to Santa Croce, Florence, for reburial. So Rossini's corpse. Did you know who he was? He was a composer, famous composer.
Oh, so Florence, Alabama.
Yeah, reburied him in Florence, Alabama. But he was Rossini was like one of the most famous composers of his time, and they dug him up. You know what he was doing when they dug him up? He was decomposing. Okay. In 1909, Honus Wagner, now get this, baseball fans, 1909, Honus Wagner, who, by the way, is the most valuable baseball card in existence. There are like 8 of them, and they're like multi-million-dollar cards. I mean, they're worth a double Dima. But in 1909, Honus Wagner stole his way around the bases in the first inning against the Cubs. And it's never been done since. Did you know you could steal first base, Matt?
No.
You can. On the third strike, if the catcher misses the ball, the guy can run. Catcher can throw him out if he can make the throw, but if he makes it first, he stole first. And so then Honus Wagner stole second, stole third, and stole home.
That's amazing.
We're on the bases. Never been done before. In 1924, the Netherlands refused to recognize USSR, which I don't know why that's just hilarious to me. You know, I mean, the Netherlands refuses to recognize the USSR? I mean, what's that? That's like Orange Beach refusing to recognize Dallas. You know, it's like, no, you're not there. No, you're not a real place. All the people in their tulip fields. No. There is no USSR, but they found out better later. In 1933, in Germany, Adolf Hitler banned trade unions. On this day in 1933, he banned trade unions. Did you know that Hitler is just like, he is like a rock star on YouTube because of one movie? It's not actually Hitler, it's like a movie about Hitler. And it's only actually a little piece of that movie. And I'm not really sure what movie it is.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I know what clip you're talking about. I've seen it redone over and over and over.
And several years ago, somebody took a clip, and man, whoever is playing Hitler in this, can you throw a little bit of it up? No. If you can't, that's no big deal.
I don't think I can.
Okay, but when whoever's playing Hitler in this movie is scary good. I mean, looks like him. It's scary good. But people have taken this clip of Hitler losing it with his inner group and sending some of them out in the hall where people are out in the hall listening and they're terrified. And so somebody took that and put subtitles on it because he's speaking in German, and they put subtitles on it, and it was something like, you know, Hitler is upset that Tim Tebow didn't win the Heisman the second time. And it's hilarious. Well, then somebody else did one. Then somebody else did one. Then a flood of them came out. And then whoever owned the movie said, no, stop this. And so they shut them all down. But the flood came on even greater. And then somebody said to the producers of the movie, look, just charge them $10 a pop or something, And so now there are thousands of these things that are Hitler, So just think of something that happened and put Hitler in front of it and go on YouTube and you can see it. It's the only time Hitler's ever been funny in history. So, in 1945, here's something funny for Hitler. In 1945, on this day, more than 1 million German soldiers surrendered to the Western Allies in Italy and Austria. I mean, you think, for one thing, you think that's great, but then another thing you think, where are we going to put them? We got to feed them? In 1954, Major League Baseball, St. Louis Cardinal Stan Musial, in a doubleheader against the New York Giants, hit 5 home runs in the doubleheader. Man, he keeps doing that. He'll be good enough to play for the Orange Beach Lady Makos. Fast pitch softball. They're playing tonight at 6. They're actually playing the first game of the state championship round, like right now, right over here. And then they play again, second game at 6. And I say second game at 6 because they're going to win. Somebody say, shouldn't you wait to say the next game is at 6 before you know they've won? Oh, I know they're winning. I'm telling you, these girls are unbelievable. Pace, Florida, Pace High School had the number 2 team, ranked high school team in the nation. And 2 weeks ago, Orange Beach's little bitty girls beat them 4-2. And our girls are this year, 9th and 10th graders, 2-time state champions. They won it 2 years ago, the first time. And at the final game, Ava Hodo, who is a 7th grader, hit the walk-off home run to win the state championship, a 7th grader. And then they won the state championship again last year. And this year, all those 7th and 8th graders are 9th and 10th graders now. And even though our second baseman is in the 8th grade and the center fielder's in the 8th grade. And Ava Hodo this year, she's close to 20 home runs this year. And she's in the 9th grade. Okay. On this day in history, in 1962, the U.S. performed an atmospheric nuclear test at Christmas Island. Now, somehow that just begs for a smart aleck remark.
It does.
Doesn't it? Whew. Boy, that's the ultimate Grinch act, I would think. It's like throwing out the first ball. And now to push the plunger, here's the Grinch. And and you can bet somebody, some smart aleck said, "Merry Christmas."
That's what turned Rudolph's nose red.
Yeah, that's what it was. Nuclear spider that bit Spider-Man. It was some radiation thing that made Rudolph's nose turn red. All right. In the 78 NFL draft, the first pick from the University of Texas by the Houston Oilers, Earl Campbell. Whew, I'm telling you, man, Earl Campbell, I don't know, has there ever been a more intimidating runner than Earl Campbell? I mean, Larry Zonka maybe, but Earl Campbell had 32-inch thighs. I remember seeing these, little defensive backs like dive out of his way instead of trying to tackle him. But he was brutal. I mean, Earl was a very good guy. I actually goose hunted with Earl. So, in South Texas, it was the rags to rice hunt. We were hunting snow geese. It was the Waterfowl USA celebrity hunt. And let me tell you what you do. You go out way before daylight, and the guide puts sticks in the ground, little stakes. And the hunters, we all have these boxes of Glad garbage bags that are white, and we're walking along, stripping them off, putting them on the sticks. And I mean, we'll put like 1,000 of them out before daylight now, because that is, the wind kind of ruffles them, and it imitates feeding snow geese. And so, and then you're laying on the ground, and so they're giving you a white smock with a hoodie thing, white thing going over your head. And so we got through putting the Glad bags out there, and it was still not daylight, and so we were standing around, and Earl Campbell said to me, he said, "You're from Alabama?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Man, I got to tell my grandmama about this." I said, "About what?" He said, "My grandmama would never have expected me to be out in a dark field with a guy from Alabama with a white hood on and a shotgun in his hand." Earl is he's one of 10 people that won the Heisman Trophy and then went on to go in the NFL Hall of Fame. Only 10 people have ever done that. More people have walked on the moon than have done that. And Earl Campbell did that. Okay, 1979. The 14th Academy of Country Music Awards, the male vocalist of the year and the female vocalist of the year was Kenny Rogers and Barbara Mandrell. I loved both of them. And I didn't know them then, but I got to do a lot of stuff. I toured for 5 years with Kenny, and off and on for like 3 years with Barbara. It used to just freak me out. Now, maybe I shouldn't even say this, but it used to freak me out that Barbara Mandrell smoked. I mean, she was so pretty, had that great voice, and she smoked. I just wanted to just act like her mom and just slap that cigarette out of her hand. What are you doing? Have you got that picture that somebody sent the other day
Which one?
of Kenny?
Oh, I can.
Yeah. Somebody sent this to us the other day, and I was glad to have it. I don't have many pictures of Kenny and me, but this was actually at his house. We were doing something one day, and then somebody took this picture and sent it. And Kenny looks like Kenny Rogers in this picture when you see it, and I look like Ichabod Crane or something. But there it is. I don't know what. Maybe Kenny's mad. I've got my hands on his shoulders. Maybe I'm holding him back. Maybe I'm saying, "No, don't. Come on now." That was an event held at his house. That was it's kind of a made-for-television event. You got the next picture? The one of me performing at his house? You got that? There it is. They set up this big tent in his yard, and so I was the entertainment that Kenny brought in for this thing. You know, we work together all the time anyway, but this made-for-television event, it was a 2-day event, and they had 4 people from entertainment, and if I'm remembering this correctly, it was Kenny, Woody Harrelson, and I can't remember who the other 2 were. But then they had 4 people from tennis. They had Vitas Gerulaitis, Ilie Nastase, and 2 other people that I don't remember. Then they had 4 golfers. They had Tom Weiskopf. They were all big people, you know. And I don't remember the rest of them, and they had 4 basketball players. And so they had a team that had one of every kind of person on it. And they competed in playing horse in basketball, closest to the pin in golf, because Kenny had a golf course built around his house. And they had, then they had tennis, doubles in tennis. And then for the entertainers, then they had 4 Ranger bass boats, and they had fishing for that. And they had people like Orlando Wilson and Bill Dance in to guide them, you know, in Kenny's Lake. But I've always regretted something about that event. I used to never get anybody's autograph because I always thought, you know, people ask me for my autograph, and I'm thinking, you're not going to know where that is an hour from now. This is ridiculous. But I realized at some point I'm working with some people that are going to be in history books. I mean, these people are going to be remembered forever. And so over here, you guys in the studio, you'll see some of these. I started having people sign something of theirs for me. So General Schwarzkopf signed his ammo box. Nancy Lopez signed her golf shoes, and just different stuff. Roy Rogers signed a hat, and they're all over there. And I've always regretted that. That was before I started doing that. And the 4 basketball players were all really young. Dominique Wilkins, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan. I could have gotten all 4 of them on one basketball. I also missed out. I missed who did American Pie? Don McLean. I should have had him sign a guitar, but I wasn't doing that then. Oh well, John Mason Smith, have you heard that Kenny Rogers' wife, Wanda, is releasing a new album next month of new music and old stuff from Kenny's library? Really? I was with Kenny through 2 wives. Wanda was one. It's actually his 3rd, but my 2nd for Kenny. Okay, back to the show. This day in history, we're almost through because we're up to 2011. 2011, Osama bin Laden, behind the September 11th attacks and on the FBI's most wanted list as number 1, was killed by U.S. Special Forces in Pakistan. You can actually applaud for that one. And then, 2019. This is the last one. 2019. A cleanup on Mount Everest removed 3 metric tons of rubbish and 4 bodies in just 2 weeks. A cleanup of Mount Everest. And that was done as a project of the Girl Scouts of Nepal. Instead of selling cookies that year, they cleaned up Everest in their Girl Scout uniforms. I just made that up too. But it sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, it really does sound good to think that the Girl Scouts of Nepal would climb up there. And
That is just insane, though. That's like one of the wonders of the world. Unbelievably pretty that there's 6,000 pounds of just junk.
Of garbage. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, don't you drive around here sometimes and wonder what's going on? I mean, who throws McDonald's sacks out their windows?
Yeah.
Or who rides along and throws beer cans out their windows? Who's riding along drinking beer? But good grief. We were over, Austin and I were over at Robinson Island, Bird Island, these islands right in the middle of the pass. This was, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little more than that. But we were out at that island walking around, and it was on a Saturday, and so it was packed. There was a lot of people. And there were, these weren't girls, they were women. I won't call them ladies, but they were women. These were like 30, 35, 40-year-old female people. And they were eating watermelon and just throwing the rinds back, on the beach, and just like kind of in the sea oats. I mean, you could see them. There's big watermelon rinds everywhere. And I'm watching them, and they just keep doing it. And so I said, I just can't help it. And so I said, excuse me. I said, are you guys really throwing this watermelon rinds, this trash, out on the island instead of taking it off in a garbage bag? And they said, it's biodegradable. I said, yeah, in several years. And they said, it's fine. I said, it is? They said, yes, it's fine. And I said, can I ask you where you live? And they said, why do you want to know where we live? I said, because I just thought that I might go to your house sometime and eat watermelon and throw the rinds in your front yard. Because it's biodegradable. And of course, they didn't think that was funny. But I'm like, people come, I mean, this is where we live. This is, I don't know. But I do not get. I mean, littering is one of those things that I just don't get. Because I just don't understand the mindset. Even though I did litter one time. I littered on purpose just to see what somebody would do. Do you remember Simon and Simon? Remember that show, Simon and Simon? It was two brothers that were cops. It was Jameson Parker was the pretty one, the blonde-headed one, and Delta Burke's husband, whatever his name is. I can't think of his name, but he was the other brother. But Simon and Simon. Nod. You guys remember this, don't you? Okay. So when Polly and I were in California for like 9 months or a year, one time we had not been married long, and so every Sunday afternoon, I would go out shooting sporting clays with Jameson Parker and a couple of other guys. John Milius was one of them, the director. But Jameson and I were good buddies, and so we were coming back from this sporting clay place, this more and more sporting clays, and we were coming back, and I was driving, and he goes on this rant about littering, kind of like I did just a minute ago. But he was much more Gerald McCraney. That's who it is. It was Delta Burke's husband, Gerald McCraney. But he was like serious about this littering thing. And so when we got to the apartments where I was living, and he's going to get in his car, I'm getting his stuff out of the back, and there was a couple of bottles there, Coke bottles, something, in the back. And so I'm looking for his stuff, and so I just take them and I just throw them in the bushes like that, just to see what he would do. And he sputtered. He gave a and I turned around and said, "I'm just kidding. I'll get him." But it just about gave him a heart attack, But that was pretty funny. All right, you guys. I've enjoyed this time with y'all. I hope you've enjoyed our time about a third as much as I have. Because if you have enjoyed it that much, maybe you'll come back. I wonder sometimes who I do this for. I know that deep in my heart, I'm a third grader, and my parents have told the company, okay, if you would sit on the couch, we've promised Andy 5 minutes to talk, and after that, he'll go to his room. Anyway, I've had a good time. I hope you guys have too. We'll see you Thursday. Bye-bye.